what you're saying. Get out my business, okay?
This one's really for Eric, and Eric's not here, but I just want to give this to Eric because all right, let's just get into it, right? Because I just found this to be hilarious. Hey guys, how you doing? My name's Hero. Me and Eric were having a conversation about how Tim Pool Eric thinks Tim Pool, who is a YouTube commentator, is progressive. He thinks he's a left-leaning progressive person. And I couldn't stop laughing. Like, it was the most hilarious thing I ever heard. Because Tim Pool, at best, is a piece of shit on the ground, rolling down the highway. And that's it. End of story. Finn. But Eric seems to have a lot of faith in this dude. So, there was a great story that he put out a few days ago, and what do you know? I happen to be within proximity of this story and actually know what happened. So I just want to hear Tim Pool's spill on it and get a better perspective on this progressive leaning individual. I guess I should have also sized up my pictures, but we can do that in real time. We have the power to be successful, to be powerful. But this is just, we're going to watch just a little bit of this to kind of get a better idea of who Tim Pool like this progressive person that Eric was talking about, right? Like, I want to know. I want to know what makes this guy so progressive. Nope, I want this one. Yeah. All right, come on. Talk to me, bro.
Let's get into that first story. We have an exclusive for timcast.com from Cassandra Fairbanks. Family of Jake Gardner files wrongful death lawsuit against county, special prosecutor, and attorney general's office. I just want to read the opening of this because it's a very serious and very important story. Cassandra writes, the parents of a Nebraska bar owner that committed suicide after a fatal altercation with violent rioters have filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the county. The attorney general...
All right, verbiage in this off top is very wrong. Rioters, these were a group of people protesting on the street. Okay, and I'll just give you the truth of the story. This asshole, that asshole who committed suicide is a fucking coward. You're a pussy. You're a bitch. You ain't worth shit. You a fuck boy, and you couldn't handle the water. You couldn't handle the rain. Jeep, who got the keys to my Jeep? Room. Because what happened was there was protests going on back when everyone was rioting throughout the summer, and George Floyd and like protests were going throughout the state. It was the biggest protest in the world, and it happened in Omaha, Nebraska. And this fucktwat decided to go outside and antagonize protesters with a gun, and then he shot and killed someone after he was defending a group of women who were being harassed by this guy. This guy walked up not to a group of men with his loaded gun. He walked up to a group of women who were protesting with his gun and said he feared for his life. But that doesn't work, because just like when you're sitting in your vehicle and you get into a road rage situation, if you truly felt like you were in danger, you wouldn't have left your vehicle. You would be given more grace for fleeing the scene because someone was being aggressive towards you versus getting out of your car and then shooting that person and then getting back to your car to feel safe. The argument doesn't line up. So when he killed this boy, and mind you, this person was holding him from behind, trying to restrain him, he shot him from behind. He was then indicted by a jury in Nebraska, in Omaha, Nebraska. And he couldn't deal with that. He couldn't handle it. So he committed suicide. And that was the end of the story, right?
General,
wrong.
2 unnamed detectives and the special prosecutor in the case. Gardner, 38, shot and killed a rioter who was attacking him, his elderly father, and his business during last summer's Black Lives Matter riots. Prior
False.
to his suicide, he was indicted by a grand jury on counts of manslaughter, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, attempted first-degree assault, and making terroristic threats. But only after intense political pressure was placed on the city. The lawsuit accuses the plaintiffs of conspiring to deprive Gardner of his right to a fair trial and due process, deprivation of Sixth Amendment rights, deprivation of 14th Amendment rights, a Brady Rule violation, wrongful death, and failing to prevent the deprivation of his rights. Gardner was a Marine and veteran of deployments to Iraq and Haiti. Described himself as a libertarian, but voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and volunteered for his campaign in 3 states. The district attorney had originally ruled that the shooting was self-defense. On May 30th, Gardner confronted a group of rioters outside one of the bars he owned in Omaha called The Hive. One of them had just violently attacked his 70-year-old father, which was captured on surveillance footage. During the chaos, Gardner was knocked to the ground. The veteran fired a warning shot and attempted to back away. The situation took a tragic turn after 22-year-old rioter James Scurlock jumped on his back and began choking him. The veteran could be heard pleading with his assailant, saying, get off me, please get off me." According to the lawsuit, the choking lasted at least 18 seconds before Gardner fatally shot Scurlock. Scurlock had repeatedly broken windows at Gardner's bar and other businesses in the area earlier that evening. Still, the fatal shooting
has not been proven. Like, it's like Tim Pool has zero accountability. And there's like the part where he's talking about his father. Yeah, that was his father antagonizing people for protesting on the sidewalk, which is illegal, which is their First Amendment right. He's so fucking like useless.
Sparked even more rioting in the city, which escalated after Donald Klein, the Douglas County attorney, determined that Gardner had acted in self-defense and declined to bring charges. In what appeared to be a
your
political
virus
move to
protection,
quell the riots,
Tim
Douglas
Pool,
County
all that
District Attorney
goddamn money.
Shelley Stratman appointed special prosecutor Frederick D. Franklin to handle the case, though the court said that they expected the same outcome. Franklin is president of the Midlands Bar Association, an organization for black-only attorneys. The lawsuit notes the special prosecutor had heavily implied Gardner was a racist when he announced the charges at the height of the racial tension in the nation by saying the decision was not made because he, quote, may or may not have been a racist because being racist is not against the law. Yikes, man. There were no hints of racism in the Gardner messages, in Gardner's messages or reasons for Franklin to imply that there was. The special prosecutor inflamed people so much that Gardner received more than 1,600 death threats that week. His family was also forced to move out of the state for fear of their own safety. Now, the story goes on a bit more. There's statements from the lawyer involved, but I want to point out something really important as we move through the next bit of stories. This guy got 1,600 death threats.
Yeah, for being a scumbag.
I'm fairly convinced none of those people will face any kind of repercussion for those death threats. But you know for a fact, if the person was in any way anti-establishment, right-wing, or populist, then that would have been all over the news as the extremists are coming, et cetera, et cetera. I got to say,
I'll give you credit for that.
This story is nightmarish. It's coming back up because, of this lawsuit. But here's a guy who begs, get off me.
No.
Had already warned
him. Tim's falling into I don't know if Tim understands the true story, but I was on the ground. I saw the story. I covered it in depth in a previous podcast. This dude was active. Also, and if my memory serves me correctly, this dude had 2 prior charges with that same gun. He didn't own the gun legally. There were so many things that made this situation worse off. And Tim is, I don't know, woefully ignoring it or refusing to do his proper research. Since he got this from Timcast, which I believe is his own website, the sources are his own. But I was there. This dude didn't own the gun he used. He definitely antagonized that group of people. And his father was only approached after approaching a group of women who were protesting peacefully. And really, that black guy that got shot was a hero, because if he didn't interfere, those women would have been shot. And what you heard was this dude saying, get off him, because he knew he was in the wrong. He felt that he was already wrong, and he had the weapon that he was only supposed to use for show. But when time came to use it, it wasn't. You don't give warning shots with guns. Any gun owner tells you that off top. There's no such thing as a warning shot with a gun. You pull a gun and you take aim, you plan to kill. And if that wasn't your intent, then you automatically have proven your guilt. That is just the fact of the situation. A warning shot, the moment he fired the warning shot, he really sealed his fate in the guilty verdict, at least for manslaughter. And he knew that. And that's why that coward bitch took his life. But let's just see what Tim has to say.
Several times. Those warnings, terroristic threats, so saith the prosecutor. Telling someone like back away, I'm armed, that's making threats, and that's terroristic threats.
That's not what he said.
Things look
he called them he literally called them terrorists because and the temperature of the situation. Tim is not being honest. This was at the height of the George Floyd race protest. This dude was a scumbag through and through. Like, people had countless black patrons that had experienced horrible service at his restaurant. Like, he wasn't a good guy. One less scumbag.
I don't know. They look fairly dark, I suppose. Now, to be fair, this happened, last year, and the lawsuit is bringing this back up. So I don't want to act like we're seeing more of this kind of thing. Specifically, we haven't had the level of riots we had during the George Floyd riots. But you take a look at the Chauvin case, which wasn't that long ago, and you get riots, and the jurors are scared of retaliation. I think more than one juror said that they were scared, right? Do you guys remember?
No.
I know there was one
No.
alternate.
You see how you see how he's reaching? Do you guys remember? No. If you don't have the transcript, shut the fuck up.
There's another guy who said
Yeah. Who's
and
the
now we
sheep
have
in this
the
conversation?
Rittenhouse trial coming up. I am not convinced Rittenhouse will get a fair trial. And a lot of people have said that they think he will, and I'm like, why would anybody go up against this machine where
How is Tim Pool progressive and saying that he's worried about Kyle Rittenhouse getting a fair trial? Kyle Rittenhouse literally shot 2 people, killed 2 people, and mangled a third. And he's a murderer. I mean, I hope he gets a fair trial, but what are you worried about? The justice system works, right?
These people can send all these death threats and nothing bad happens to them. That they can go around. These people are literally destroying.
Okay, but to Tim's point here, so them sending death threats doesn't excuse the fact that he still murdered somebody. So if you want to talk about the death threats, talk about the death threats. But he's still a piece of shit for what he did.
Buildings and attacking people, and they're called the victims. Yeah, I don't know, man.
See, he's trying to conflate these two together.
Of how, like, law is one thing, but you got to kind of put the law aside when you're looking at what's going on right now around the world. Violence is the last resort, absolute last.
Okay.
Desperation resort. You do not do it, because if you do it, court of public opinion goes after you. You see 1,600 people issue this guy death threats. 1,600 people. They were going to go.
Well, he received 1,600 death threats. Maybe some of them were
as far as he was concerned, his life was over, so he took his own life. Like that was without the legal system.
His life was over because he received. Like, they are trying to excuse away all guilt from this guy. Woe is me. This guy was a piece of shit. Like, they're defending a piece of shit. These are not progressives.
And obviously, the legal system was busting this guy's balls too, but
because he murdered somebody, and they found they indicted him on it. They were willing to take this to trial, and he would have lost.
I mean, I think the common thread here is that it's the politicization of our reality. And
cool
in
mustache, bro.
Is where it's the most maybe pronounced. But like, I mean, just look at obviously all the COVID stuff. Yeah, sorry if I'm quiet there, folks. I'll get a little closer here.
There we go.
With all the COVID stuff, I mean, there's or if you want to talk about the quote unquote lab leak hypothesis, that was politicized because Trump went one way and everybody else went the other. Mm-hmm. And
there was that one doctor who said it. That we initially dismissed this because it was Trump who said it.
Am I allowed to say COVID?
Like, yeah, because Trump's a fucking idiot. I would dismiss anything Trump said. He was the president.
A little bit on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But be careful
Just
because
sure. Okay.
if you add the 19 afterwards. No, I'm kidding. They got weird rules. The rules are absolutely weird.
Yeah, I'm
weird.
aware of them for sure.
I mean,
dude, the weird thing is, like, if Biden farted in public and someone recorded it on their iPhone, that would become political. Because of why? Social media?
It would be funny as fuck.
If Biden voided his bowels because of his old age, they would claim that it's completely normal. It's like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a normal thing. Don't worry about it.
It would get
Do you see
tens of thousands of views on Twitter, comments, retweets.
Well, I gotta be honest. It'd probably get banned. They'd say it's fake. It's manipulated. It's manipulated. He didn't actually void his bowels. He just took a dump.
I'm wondering if we need to change the way our courts work. Like, because how can you get a fair trial in this day and age?
I got to stress this point, man. I think the law is absolutely...
Could you imagine 3 white people complaining about the law? 3 white people complaining about the laws not being fair and just enough for them. They're like, this is crazy. And it's like they don't even realize how stupid they look. Like, 3 white men, 3 cisgendered white men complaining about having fair trials in situations where they murdered a black person. This is gross. Like, these people are disgusting. You have no space to complain about the justice system. It was built and designed to serve you. And if you have a little bit of money, it's especially in your corner. That's crazy.
Well, I shouldn't say absolutely, but I'm exaggerating. But I think the law is very much so meaningless in a certain sense. Obviously, we follow the laws. We recognize what laws, what the laws are to the best of our abilities. There's a lot of laws people don't know about. I was watching this video on Never Talking to Cops, and the guy points out it's a crime to accept like sea creatures, like seafood or creatures or whatever, from someone if they obtained it. It's like if it's illegal in another country to obtain it and they trade it to you, you committed a crime in the U.S. What? Like there are laws that are really, really weird, right?
Yeah, because you're importing foreign.
We can follow the laws to the best of our abilities. We can live peacefully. We say, violence is wrong. The issue, though, is it's cultural. If the law is don't do X, but no one's willing to prosecute it, the law may as well not exist.
Right.
So if the law may as well the law may as well.
What are they talking about? What are they talking about? Like, where is this conversation coming from? Where are they going with this? How did we go from a guy shooting someone and being convicted for it and then killing himself because he's too punk bitch to face the consequences to now talking about some laws don't mean things, and if you accept a blue crap from a Saudi Arabian guy, you could go to jail for it. They're so off topic. The goalpost has moved so far. I am done with this conversation. I cannot handle this anymore. I do not want to be part of this anymore. Tim Pool is not progressive. Tim Pool is gutter trash. And I just witnessed 3 white people complaining about a system that is infringing on them that was designed to protect them. It's crazy to see. It's crazy to hear. But when Eric watches this, I hope Eric, this your homeboy? Is this your boy? Is this your king? But hey, Tim Pool and all you pool boys, all you pool boys that out here defending this, hey, welcome to the Identity Booth. It was so nice to have you. I look forward to seeing you rage out in my comment sections, but get over yourself because he's not progressive. I don't think if you're a pool boy and you support this dude, do you find him to be progressive? Like, what is your progressive stance? I'm interested to hear your stuff. Don't talk to me about this because you're wrong, obviously. But I'm interested to hear more about you. No, I'm just playing. Come on. Get out your feelings. Like, share, subscribe. This is the Identity Booth. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Where else are we? Oh, yeah, TikTok. We're really popular on TikTok now. Anchor. Player FM, iTunes, Spotify, we're everywhere like Visa, man. This is the conclusion of the show. We have made it to the end. It's been a long show. Sorry for the late start, but I appreciate everybody coming through and being supportive and, hanging out with us and really just, making this. Y'all really did make the show. I really do appreciate you. You guys can find us in a bunch of other places, though. And just keep following us. Let us know how we're doing. Check in with us. Let us know. We'll be doing a live show. My goal is to do it on Friday. So, and this is my game plan. All right, hear me out. I'm going to start going to the gym only 3 times a week, right? Instead of 4. So I can do the live show before the market close. This Friday, I want to spend $1,000 with you. I have $1,000 I want to spend in the stock market. I have a curated list. I'd be super hyped to get some of you guys to hop in there and help me spend some of this money. Obviously, I can't give you none of this money, but I'm going to be buying some dividends and giving you guys my reasoning on why I'm buying these dividend stocks. I think it's super impressive. Let's find someone to raid. Let's find somebody to raid real quick. Who we want to raid? Let's rate my boy Nostalgia. But I thank you guys so much. We didn't get anybody to jump on with us today, but that's still cool. That's great. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for doing this. We didn't get nobody. So if I roll credits, what we gonna get?
But it's so hard to find through the daily grind. Been working overtime. And I'm sleep deprived, shorty on my line and we fuss and fight. Seems like every night, don't care who's wrong or right. I hope the end is sight. Slow it down and we can catch